This is TechCrunch. After 15 years, Tim Cook will hand off the Apple CEO role to John Ternus, the company's senior vice president of hardware engineering. Starting on September 1st, Ternus will lead one of the world's most valuable companies. But if you are not a dedicated Apple enthusiast, you've probably never heard of Mr. Ternus, who has largely remained out of the spotlight until now. Ternus has worked at Apple for nearly half of his life. Now 51, he has been with the company for 25 years. He joined Apple's product design team in 2001 as only his second job out of college. His first was at a small maker of virtual reality devices called Virtual Research Systems. By 2013, Ternus was a VP of hardware engineering and was promoted to the SVP role in 2021. Ternus, who is 15 years younger than Cook, was among the youngest of top Apple executives who had been rumored as a possible successor, implying that Apple could be looking for someone to lead the company for a long time. After all, Apple has only had two CEOs in this millennium, so it seems that leadership continuity is important to the company. Ternus reports to Cook, who he considers a mentor, and leads all of hardware engineering at Apple. That's a pretty big deal for a company that is known for ubiquitous hardware like the iPhone and the MacBook. In his 2024 commencement speech at his alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania's Engineering School, Ternus reflected on the lessons he learned at Apple, which perhaps can tell us a bit about his character, or at least a sanitized version of it. He said, "Always assume you're as smart as anyone else in the room, but never assume that you know as much as they do. With this mindset, you'll find the confidence you need to push forward, but more importantly, the humility to ask questions." In a tech ecosystem populated with abrasive egos, it is refreshing to hear Ternus utter the word humility. Better yet, he does not appear to have an X account. Ternus's earliest project at Apple involved scrutinizing parts for the Apple Cinema display, an early desktop monitor. He said, "At some point in my first year, I found myself at a supplier facility. I was far away from home, well past midnight. I was using a magnifying glass to count the number of grooves on the head of a screw. And I was arguing with the supplier because these parts had 35 grooves. They were supposed to have 25. I distinctly remember stepping back for a minute and thinking, what the hell am I doing? Is this normal?" Well, as Ternus climbed the corporate ladder, his responsibilities grew. He may no longer spend as much time analyzing screws, but he still seems to take pride in getting the little details right. In a recent interview, when Ternus was asked about his favorite memory of Steve Jobs, he mentioned the former Apple co-founder's attention to craftsmanship. He said Jobs was moving a piece of furniture, a chest of drawers, and pulled it away from the wall, and he looked at the back of it, and he was just reflecting on that the carpenter who made it so beautifully. It finished the back as beautifully as the rest of it, even though nobody was going to see it, right? And I think about that all the time because I think that perfectly exemplifies what we do here. From there, he went on to lead the hardware development behind products across the Apple ecosystem, overseeing launches like AirPods, Apple Watch, and the Vision Pro. He also had a hand in major technical upgrades at Apple, like Apple's transition from Intel chips to its own proprietary Apple Silicon. More recently, Ternus was involved in the production of the MacBook Neo, Apple's new, more affordable laptop model that lowers costs through some clever trade-offs in hardware design, like using an iPhone chip to power the device. Ternus said that we never want to ship junk. We want to ship great products that have that Apple experience, that Apple quality. To do that with the Neo required building something completely new from the ground up, leveraging both the technologies we'd been developing, like Apple Silicon, but also the kind of expertise that we've developed over many, many years of building Macs and building phones and building iPads and all of those things. As CEO, Ternus will have to steer Apple through its challenge to catch up in the AI race and figure out what to do with the underlying tech behind the Vision Pro. Earlier this week, Anthropic announced that Amazon has agreed to invest a fresh $5 billion, bringing Amazon's total investment in the company to $13 billion. Anthropic, for its part, has agreed to spend over $100 billion on AWS over the next 10 years, obtaining up to 5 gigawatts of new computing capacity to train and run Claude. The deal echoes an agreement Amazon struck with OpenAI just 2 months ago when it joined a $110 billion funding round, contributing $50 billion that valued the ChatGPT maker at a $730 billion pre-money valuation. That deal, too, was structured partly as cloud infrastructure services rather than straight cash. At the heart of this deal is Amazon's custom chips. Graviton, a low-power CPU, and Trainium, an NVIDIA competitor and AI accelerator chip. The Anthropic deal specifically covers Trainium 2 through Trainium 4 chips, even though Trainium 4 chips are not currently available. The latest chip, Trainium 3, was released in December. On top of that, Anthropic has secured the option to buy capacity on future Amazon chips as they become available. We'll see if this news is a teaser to Anthropic announcing a new funding round. VCs have reportedly been offering the AI company capital in a deal that would value it at $800 billion or more. That's all for now. For more stories like these, go to TechCrunch.com.